residents of Manchester have come out and have offered shelter to the blast victims. So the Indian community there extending its helping hand to victims in distress. The Gurdwara opening its doors to people who had gone to the concert to offer shelter to the Manchester blast victims. We know that the train services from Victoria Terminus stations was suspended following the attack as a precautionary measure. So about 21,000 people who were there inside the particular concert hall, they were running helter and skelter. Conveyance was not to be found close by. There were ambulances which were zipping past. The entire area was cordoned off, so people were having a lot of difficulty in commuting. So the local Gurdwaras there have come out in full support, and they have offered their premises as shelter homes for victims of this dastardly act of terror. We see that the Indian community there clearly coming out, and Indian community's humanitarian face coming to the fore, where the Gurdwaras there in Manchester, they have opened up their doors for the Manchester victims. And in fact, there are tweets which are playing on our screens right now, coming in from world leaders, from leaders across the spectrum in India as well, right from the President to the Prime Minister. Everyone has come out to strongly condemn this dastardly act of terror. Remember that over 19 people have lost their lives, and over 40, in fact 50, are battling for their lives, who are admitted in 6 hospitals in Manchester City. So there are the visuals on our screens once again. The panic that gripped the entire concert arena after this explosion blast, essentially, that ripped through this particular shelter over there. In fact, there were 20,000 people who were there at that particular concert, 20,000 people who were running for their lives. We know that 19 lives have been snuffed out following this dastardly act of terror. Now, British Prime Minister, UK Prime Minister Theresa May has come out and called it an appalling act of terror. We also know that Prime Minister Narendra Modi has also come out and has tweeted and offered condolences to the victims of this terror attack. Eyewitnesses described this as a huge bomb-like bang and scenes of panic as young fans fled the venue. A fleet of ambulances was seen rushing to the venue, and bomb disposal teams were dispatched soon after. The Manchester police say that they're working with the National Police, intelligence agencies to investigate the concert explosion. But then initial leads suggest that it could be the handiwork of the ISIS or the Al-Qaeda, essentially, to try and destabilize the peace that was prevailing in the area. Let me quickly get in a word from my colleague, our senior editor, Ananya Dasgupta. Ananya, just take us through what more details can you share. We have seen that, yes, Ariana Grande has cancelled her concerts there. Strong words of condemnation pouring in from world leaders, including Prime Minister Modi. The latest tweet there coming in from the Rashtrapati Bhavan as well.
That's right. The world watching and reacting to the horrific attack on the stadium, the Manchester Arena in the UK. The details that are now coming in, remember this is early morning UK time, so it will be about 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock in the morning. We are expecting an official word from the authorities. From the authorities in the UK, possibly around 9 a.m. GMT. So that's by afternoon Indian time, which is when we'll get some kind of an official word as to where investigations stand at the moment. Right now, what we know is that there are about 50 children who've taken shelter in a hotel nearby the Manchester Arena. There were children who had gone alone to watch this concert. They are teenagers. They were alone. Their parents were waiting outside. They've got separated. Those are children who've now gone to the hotel nearby. They are waiting there. Authorities are asking people immediately to identify themselves. Even if they are wounded, they're asking them to identify themselves so that their families can be immediately informed, because on social media, what you see right now are pictures that are circulating. Families putting out pictures of their loved ones saying, my daughter is missing or my son is missing. Do you know where that person is? Have you seen this person? So that's the chaos that's going on at the moment. We are also getting news via news agencies that several Gurdwaras in that area have opened their doors. They are asking people to come in, take shelter. Those who are stranded, those who are blast victims, are going into Gurdwaras nearby, getting shelter, getting food, getting some primary first aid. And that's the situation as dawn breaks in the UK this morning.
Well, that's right, Ananya. But also, if I could just quickly take you through to some of the reactions that we are getting in from people who were present at the concert. In fact, a 22-year-old Majid Khan, who was attending the concert with his sister, has said that a huge bomb-like bang went off that hugely panicked everyone, and we were all trying to flee the arena. In fact, Robert Temkin, again a 22-year-old young concert enthusiast who was there, he was from Middlesbrough. He told the BBC that everyone was screaming and running. There were coats and people's phones on the floor. People just dropped everything. Some people were screaming they'd seen blood, but other people were saying it was balloons bursting or a speaker had been popped. There were a lot of ambulances, and I saw somebody being treated. I couldn't tell what had happened to him. So clearly a sense of panic that gripped people there, Ananya, people who were attending that concert. Remember that this was a much publicized concert, and the concert hall was packed to the capacity, 21,000 people inside the packed hall.
In Europe, so you can imagine how crowded it was. Ariana Grande's concert taking place there on a Monday night, and the blast happening just after the concert got over. So I believe the pop star had just left the stadium when this blast went off. In fact, on social media, you will be able to see some amateur video taken on mobile phones where you can see people leaving, getting up, talking to each other. There is some music playing, and suddenly a loud blast, and then there's utter chaos. You can see people dropping their belongings, people not knowing what to do, not knowing how to react, because these are young people, these are teenagers. They possibly didn't know what that loud noise was all about. They didn't know how to react, what to do, but most of them then running towards the exit. I believe that the police, the emergency services were very quick to react, and within a few minutes they were at the spot. They were rushing victims to hospital. And the parents who were standing there then started looking for their children, who were waiting for their children to leave the concert late at night, possibly around 10:30 in the night. Some latest pictures also now coming in from Manchester, but we are waiting to hear now about the police, their search efforts, because there were reports of a second suspicious device being found at the site. There were some reports that the police had carried out a controlled explosion as well of that second suspicious device. The word from the police is that they suspect a suicide bomber to be behind this attack. But remember, this is just a preliminary report, and they are putting their facts together. They are talking to eyewitnesses. They are
yes, these are preliminary reports indeed, Ananya, as you are putting things into perspective. But just quickly tell us that, there are also reports that we are getting that possibly there's an ISIS and a Al-Qaeda footprint to these terror attacks. Though, yes, as you rightly pointed out, these are very, very initial hours, and we'll still have to wait for an official confirmation. But that is what investigators are saying. That is what our sources in the United Kingdom are telling us, that this could be the handiwork of ISIS and the Al-Qaeda.
In fact, early this morning, NewsX had noted a couple of videos claiming responsibility. These were videos that were posted on Twitter, but we decided not to go ahead and air those videos because we do not know which handles these are, who has put up these videos, which are quote-unquote claiming responsibility for the attack. This is on behalf of the ISIS. Yes, there is a ISIS handiwork, as terror experts across the world are pointing out, because the bomb seems to have been packed with nails so that the impact would be maximum. So there's a certain footprint that can be easily recognized. This clearly seems to be a well-planned attack. You would have thousands of people at one venue. They are limited to one area. You can inflict the maximum number of injuries if you attack at this point. So that seems to have been the planning behind this attack.
Well, that's right. In fact, we were trying to put out for our viewers essentially that, how there has been a series of terror strikes, and there seems to be a thread as far as the terror strikes in Europe are concerned. Ananya, clearly there was Paris, there was Brussels, there was London, 2005 London. We all remember, this attack in Manchester today has brought back memories of the 2005 London attack as well. But then somewhere down the line, what experts are saying, and we have been speaking with experts, Ananya, as you were also pointing out, that this could have been a very well-planned and a well-executed plan on the part of these terror outfits. So clearly they are trying to make a point. Now, is there a way that, we can link it with, this Wahhabism? Because Wahhabism is something that these organizations, be it the ISIS or the Al-Qaeda, are trying to latch onto, trying to get the young generation into their fold. by spreading or indoctrinating them with this Wahhabism philosophy?
It is possible, sort of, but it would be too early to jump to conclusions on this right now because we do not have many details of what exactly has happened in Manchester, the details about whether it was a bomb, what kind of bomb, whether there was one bomb or more, and who is behind the attack, whether there is any sort of message that's been passed on to the authorities in the UK or anyone has officially claimed responsibility for the attack on Manchester Arena. The only reaction we have heard is from the Chief Constable of Manchester Police, who's spoken to the media. It was a rather short statement which only spoke about the number of people who've lost their lives, putting it at 19, putting the number of injured at about 50. That is the only official reaction we have as of now, not many more details of the nature of the blast itself.
Well, Ananya, we also now know that the train services to and from, essentially Manchester Victoria Station, they have been suspended as a precautionary measure. So any word there coming in from Manchester Police or from the Manchester Civic Authorities, the corporation there, as to by when normal life can be expected to come back to that area? Because we know that the area has been cordoned off for now and investigations are being carried out by the forensic experts as well.
Sort of, just have to remember that this is late in the night, early in the morning in the UK. So I am assuming that as of now, train services are going to be suspended in Manchester, at least till early morning their time, till the police feel that they have a grip on the situation, till they feel that they have combed the area. We do not know whether they suspect that any more attackers could be around, whether this was a lone wolf attack is something that is being debated even as we speak. So these are facts that they are checking at the moment. They are trying to see if there could be more devices which have not exploded, which need to be scanned, found out, which need to be then made safe. So those are things that are going on at the moment. We do not know when the city is going to back to normal. I suspect not very soon, because this is something that would have shaken up the entire city of Manchester, an attack that too at a pop concert being attended largely by teenagers.
Well, that's right. In fact, on our screens right now is a Europe terror timeline there, where we are seeing that how terror has ripped apart multiple cities in Europe, where these terror outfits have finally come out and taken responsibility. But as Ananya was pointing out, and very rightly so, still very, very early hours now, we have seen that how 19 people have lost their lives. There was complete chaos and panic that gripped that particular arena. But then a quick statement there coming in from UK Home Secretary Amber Rudd, and he has described the fatal explosion as a barbaric act. And he has said in a statement, and I quote, "The full details of exactly what happened are still emerging, but I'm proud of the police and first responders who reacted to this tragic incident so swiftly." In fact, the Manchester Police has also set up an emergency helpline for our viewers who have relatives back their home in UK and in Manchester particularly. You can note the local helpline number, and it is 0161 856 9400. I repeat, the local helpline number in Manchester is 0161 856 9400. So quickly listen into some reactions coming in.
This would be the deadliest attack in the United Kingdom since the London bombings of July 2005. Our thoughts and our prayers are with the victims of this attack and with their families. As parents, we keenly feel the anxiety of those waiting to learn of their children's safety on this terrible night. And Mr. Speaker, this incident, this attack is especially vile, especially criminal, especially horrific, because it appears to have been deliberately directed at teenagers.
The world leaders are not paying attention. Last year, whole of Europe was terrorized by the terrorists, by attacks in France, Italy, Germany, and also in Turkey and United Kingdom. But in spite of that, the leaders have not come together.
Proper action has to be taken. The intelligence must have been there regarding Manchester, but the question is, the organization has now put guards down. They have become more lax. And this is the situation of which, the advantage of which is being taken by various radical organizations, as you have seen.
In fact, there's a statement that has now come in from the Manchester Arena, essentially from the latest statement on the incident at the Manchester Arena from the Greater Manchester Police. And it says the Chief Constable has said that I can confirm the details of events tonight that we currently know. Around 10:33 p.m. last night, so this is the UK time, we received reports of an explosion at the Manchester Arena city centre, in the city centre. It was at the conclusion of the Ariana Grande concert. And it goes on to say that currently we have 19 people confirmed to have died and around 50 injured. The injured are being treated at 6 hospitals across Greater Manchester. My thoughts are with those who have been affected, and we are doing all we can to support them. Officers from Greater Manchester Police and Emergency Services are working at the scene. So this is the statement that is coming in from the Greater Manchester Police. So a dastardly act of terror once again in the United Kingdom, where the terror agencies have struck again. But this act of terror predictably has received worldwide condemnation. In fact, world leaders have come out and openly condemned this act of terror. This will continue to be a big